You're listening to the Health and Happiness Podcast with Travis Kemper and
Lauryn Maxwell. Each episode, we share easy-to-implement strategies to improve your health, happiness, and overall quality of life. If you don't make the time to work on creating the life you want, you're eventually going to be forced to spend a lot of time dealing with a life you don't want. Kevin No. Hey, Travis, how's it going?
Going okay. I've had a rough week, honestly.
What's been going on this week?
Well, we're pretty sure Julia's car's dead.
Oh, no.
Yes, so we're going to have to buy a new car.
Oh, no.
Yes, so that's unfortunate.
Oh, shoot.
Also,
I'm
we
sorry.
tried to rent a car today, and Enterprise, this is not going to be a glowing review for Enterprise. Enterprise better hope that not a lot of people listen to this podcast because they're not going to like me. So I ordered a car, I rented a car, I have a confirmation email, and then they call me and tell me they don't have a car. Like Enterprise, the
Like
rental
no
car
car.
agency.
No
Like,
cars
no
to
car.
rent.
No, exactly. So we live in a very small town. There is no other option. There's Enterprise, and that is it.
Oh my gosh.
So we tried to rent a car for 2 weeks because I didn't want to be rushed into making a decision on what car to buy, because I know that that's not going to be intelligent financially or long-term happiness. We keep our cars until they die. So we didn't want that. But yeah, so there's that. So we're trying to figure that out.
Dang.
And then, very sadly, Buddy has disappeared.
Wait,
Buddy,
what?
my cat is nowhere to be seen.
No,
So
buddy.
yes, so we're starting to really worry. He's left for 2 days before. He's never left for 3, and this is day 3.
Oh my
So
gosh.
he's a male indoor-outdoor cat that we have had for 3 years. He is the coolest cat in the world.
He's super cool, and I don't like cats.
He's such
And
a
I love
sweetheart.
Buddy.
So my true hope is that he's at a neighbor's house, because he frequently does that. He will go up to your door and meow to get in and meet you, because he's such a cool cat. So I'm really hoping that we put up flyers today.
Oh man, you've had a rough week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it could have been better. If Buddy comes back, it's no big deal. Our car is old; it has 200,000 miles on it, so it's not like it's completely unexpected. Yeah, hopefully Buddy comes back. How is your life going? I hope a little less rough.
Definitely a little less rough. I hope you find Buddy. Hope he comes back home. My life has been a lot less stressful this week because all of my progress reports are done, and I got to go snowboarding for the second time ever. That was on Monday. And it was super fun. I don't even remember the last time. Yeah, I also got super lucky because we got so much snow right before. We didn't even know that we were going to get that much snow when we had paid for our tickets to go snowboarding on Monday. Yeah, it was such a great day. That was the most fun I've had in a while, because I didn't expect to have that much fun because I was terrible at snowboarding last time I went. Like, I am not athletically inclined. Like, just so we're all clear, it took me 3 hours to learn to stand up the first time that I went, because nobody thought that I needed a lesson on how to stand up on a snowboard. But like, I will prove you wrong every time. When you think that I have some ability, I don't.
Did you get lessons this time?
No, I didn't. Nolan taught me, my husband. He was like, okay, we're not going to pay for lessons, but I'm going to teach you everything I know. And he's only been like 4 times, but he's very athletically inclined. Very, like that's a natural skill that he has. So he taught me how to stand up in probably 30 seconds. So we were already at a major improvement. And then he taught me how to like balance and do the pizza cutter thing back and forth, and how to stop, and how to, like every basic thing I needed to know to have a good day. And so I did I spent most of the day on the green, but then at the end of the day, I tried a blue. And
Nice job. How did that go?
I went really slowly, but I did it.
That's okay. Going slowly is like how you build skill. Like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Nice
Yeah.
job. A blue on your
Thanks.
first day. That's better than I did skiing on my first day.
Well, technically it was my second.
Oh, that's true. On my second day, I did do a blue. So I think
Yeah.
we're even.
Yeah, we're even. My
Yeah.
first day was just like, I don't know if you could count it as a first day, because I think I made it down 3 times, and the first one took me 3 hours because I couldn't stand up. So yeah, I almost consider this my first time because last time was so abysmal.
Well, that's awesome. I'm super glad you got good snow. I remember looking when you told me, because you told me when we were recording the Laughter podcast, you told me that you were going skiing or snowboarding on Monday. That was on Saturday. And like on Sunday, I was just like, I wonder how much snow that they got, because you told me it was snowing in Flagstaff. And I looked it up and I was like, holy cow. I think you had 38 inches in the last 3 days or something when I looked it up on Sunday.
Which I didn't know that until you texted me that. But yeah, it was awesome. And then we were really nervous that like we weren't going to get up the mountain in time because the day before they had like closed the road because they were at max capacity like 30 minutes after they opened. And
oh wow,
we have to rent everything because we don't have any here. And then we had to drop Keely, our puppy, off at doggy daycare because we can't leave her home alone because she's a puppy. So we were like, man, we are gonna push it. We like might not be able to actually go, and we did. So luck was on our side.
Nice. Well, it helps that you were able to go on a Monday too.
It does, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that was an enjoyable experience and you got to learn and you got amazing snow. So you got really lucky there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So today I wanted to talk about creating a compelling future for yourself. So in my life, so much of the time, and I feel like so much of my life, I was taught and expected to just kind of take life as it comes from, society, teachers and everything like that. However, the biggest breakthroughs in my satisfaction, my happiness, my job satisfaction, everything have been when I stopped taking life as it comes, kind of stopped listening to the people that are telling me what to do. And I decided I want that. And then I created a plan to go get it. So for instance, I knew I didn't want to be in school. I dropped out of school. Everybody told me that was a stupid idea. I moved across the country to avoid the massive PT school debt that I could have had if I would have stayed in Pennsylvania. People were telling me, oh, this is a terrible idea. You just need to bite the bullet, take those loans. You're not going to find a job out there in Flagstaff because I moved out a year before so I could get in-state tuition. I did travel therapy right after graduating PT school, which anybody that went to PT school, they literally tell you that that's the worst thing you can do. And you're going to just get run in the ground and everything like this. Only bad jobs are available in traveling. And we totally did not find that to be the case at all. We had great jobs the whole time. So all of these decisions were against the grain and against the recommendations from most people that you normally take recommendations from, and they ended up being some of the most important things and some of the biggest growth moments in my life. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is because I'm a little bit of a rebel, or have you had similar experiences, Lauryn?
Well, I don't consider myself a rebel, but I also have had those similar experiences. Yeah, definitely, because I think there's a huge thing about going against the grain and going against what society or, what we've kind of been conditioned to think and believe and do. Like everybody has this set of expectations that like you're supposed to do this and then this and then this and then this, and like your life is planned out before you're even like born, basically. Like that's just what society expects. But the times that I haven't followed those, like those have probably been the best decisions of my life. Same as you. I just don't think that there's value in just doing what everybody else does, you know, like live your own life, do what you want when you want, and don't listen to other people who are like, well, you have to do it in this order. Or you're doing it wrong. That's not true. Like, who said that? Who decided that? Who gets to decide that for the whole world, or for me, or for you? That's ridiculous.
One of the things that I've always said to people when they're like, oh, but they tell me, you know, this is a mistake. Like, for instance, travel therapy, I'd get it all the time. New grads would reach out to me. So I traveled for 3.5 years. So I knew the travel world pretty well by that point. And new grads would reach out to me and they're like, oh yeah, but my professor says that it's a big mistake and it's a big mistake and blah, blah, blah. And what if I don't like it? And I'm like, if you don't like it, you know what you can do?
Stop.
Just go back.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing's
like,
permanent.
Right. It's a 3-month travel contract. If you don't like it, you spent 3 months, made some more money than you would have made in a permanent job, got to see a new place in the world. What's the worst thing that can realistically happen in that situation?
Totally. And even if you consider it a mistake, quote unquote, back in one of our previous episodes, I think it was the last one we did, like, or maybe a couple ones, I don't know, doesn't matter. But why are we looking at mistakes like they're a bad thing? They're a learning experience. You're better for knowing and trying than you are for just staying still and not moving out of fear, you know, like, and like you said, if you don't like it, nothing's permanent. Like, I feel like there's always all this pressure around those big, like, life events, right? That like, well, if I choose this, I can't choose this. Well, that's not true. Like, choose this, see if it fits. If it doesn't, return it and then do the other one. You know what I mean? But
right.
Like, and I struggle with that personally. Like, that's really hard for me. So I understand why it's hard for people to see it that way. Like, it doesn't have to be this all or nothing situation. Because I have to talk myself out of that ledge a lot. Where, like,
of course,
I mean, we're going through a big life change right now where my husband just recently graduated and is looking for a job. And so we may not get to stay in Flagstaff. We both hope we do. But, you know, like, we might move somewhere else. And what, in my mind, I'm like, what if we don't like it? What if we don't like it as much as Flagstaff? Well, then why don't we just do that for a little bit and then come back, or like find somewhere else? I don't know. I'm on a rant right now, but basically it doesn't have to be all or nothing, and it doesn't have to be a mistake. It could be a learning experience. It could be, you know, something that you gain knowledge from. But even on a more basic level than that, like, it doesn't even have to be these major life events that we feel stuck. It can be something small and something simple and something everyday, you know. Like, for me personally, one of the things that I felt stuck with for a really long time was body image. And I'm not even saying that I'm not stuck with it. I'm not stuck with it. But it's something I still struggle with. But, you know, a few years ago, and maybe even longer than that, I remember a time when I couldn't look at myself in the mirror because I hated the way I looked, and I wouldn't take pictures because I didn't like looking at myself, and I wouldn't look back at pictures of other people took of me because I didn't like the way I looked. And, you know, you get in this cycle of like, okay, well, I'm just avoiding it now. Like, I hate the way I look, so I'm not looking at it. But what is that fixing?
Yeah,
it's not changing anything.
Your body. Yeah, if you hate your body every time you look in the mirror or step on the scale, why don't you have a plan to change it?
Yeah.
At some point, you got to say, this stops now.
Yeah.
So how did you do that with your body?
I mean, it was a lot of trial and error, I guess. And it really, unfortunately, had to get really bad for me to fix something, like, to the point where I couldn't, like, I avoided my own gaze in the mirror, or like every time I stepped on a scale, I like had this days of just like negative self-talk and trashing myself, and my self-worth was just like zero. And it really had to, for me, unfortunately, I hope that's not the case for everybody. I hope this podcast maybe will help you not get to the level that I got to. But for me, I had to really get to like rock bottom with how I felt about myself, to motivate my change. Because like Travis said, like, why would you be there and not have a plan to change it? So it's, for me, it started with my fitness journey and my health journey, and really finding that why, the deeper why that we've talked about a couple of times, of why do I want to start this health journey, and why do I want to work out, and why do I want to change my patterns and my routines. And it came back to, I didn't love myself, and I didn't think I was worthy, and putting myself first and keeping my promises to myself, to start moving forward in a way that changed my body physically, but also my mind, was a huge thing for me. So it was step by step, and it really felt like crawling in the beginning a lot, where it was so hard. And I've shared before about how I was on the train, off the train. I tried 15 different times to really get started, and I failed a lot, and that's okay, because eventually I did keep trying, and I found a way to be successful with it. But it was very small increments, and it started with something I could physically do. So I really threw myself into fitness. And then it had to be a lot of unpacking why I thought the things that I thought about myself, and a lot of that negative self-talk stuff that we've chatted about in a previous episode too. Because you don't learn to love yourself if you're physically trying to look different, but you're still mean.
Yeah. It's tough to love yourself when you keep looking at yourself and saying, I hate that person.
Yeah. Ooh, I might cry. Yeah, that's very true. You can't love yourself and hate yourself at the same time, really. That maybe is the one dichotomy that I can think of.
I like that. You can't love yourself and hate yourself at the same time. That's a good point. That was kind of my self-talk, my negative self-talk right there.
Yeah.
You say something mean about yourself, you say 3 nice things about yourself.
Exactly.
You can't love yourself and hate yourself at the same time.
Exactly. Which is why you found success with that, and why I found success eventually. I mean, I still work on it every day, because it's not something that you're just immediately or instantly or forever great at. You'll have bad days, and I'm a work in progress all the time for everything. But Travis, can you share an example of something that you kind of had to overcome like that in a different area of your life? Because I know for the most part, you're practically perfect in every way, as we like to joke. And I know you're pretty happy with the way that you look and your health and your fitness and stuff like that. So can you share a little bit of a different area?
Yeah, overall, I haven't had a lot of problems in my health and fitness life. However, so kind of the struggles you were talking about, and how it's hard to start. Well, Julie and a year ago, well, really it starts 2 years ago easily. We'd been traveling for a couple of years, and we were just you know what, this RV lifestyle, it's not fitting our long-term goals anymore. We want to try and find a place that we want to stay, and our plan was to kind of take travel contracts and find a place we wanted to stay, but we kept going to places that we totally knew we didn't want to stay. Yeah, so places that there's no chance we would ever move to, just by nature of the location that they were in, because we're very picky. If we're going to be somewhere long term, we're very picky, and we want what we want. And so we finally, a year ago, we sat down and we reflected on what we wanted again, and we were yeah, this really isn't working out for us. And you know what? We're probably not going to find contracts in these places because we're so picky with our job, and we're so picky with the location about where we want to live. we're not going to find those two things matching up in a travel contract because they quite simply don't exist, or they're not. To find two perfect jobs in a perfect location is very tough. So we knew we wanted, these outdoor opportunities. I want to walk out my house and go hiking, like I can right now. The internet is extremely frustrating when you're in an RV. That was one of the things that, it was delaying making this podcast. Like, how long ago did I come up with this podcast idea and bring it to you?
A year and a half ago. Probably.
I think it was a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't start it until this year, 2021, because I didn't have internet to do it. For those of you that don't know, RV internet is not conducive to Zoom calls and recording. And even making a website, I did it once. It's brutal to try and do it. We have the RV park internet, and then we have our Verizon Wi-Fi, and neither one of them can really handle everything you need to do just to have this conversation. So
yeah. Even planning our podcast was really hard because every time we wanted to meet up, even on FaceTime, it was like, this isn't working.
Yeah, my internet just wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It was, so it doesn't work. We didn't want to move every couple months anymore. We wanted to put down roots and create friendships, and we wanted to start businesses. Both Julia and I have entrepreneurship goals, and we want to start our businesses. So all of these things added up. We're like, we need to do something. So what we did was we sat down and we looked at, well, where do we want to be? What do we need in the area, in the location? And then we have to find a job in those locations. So we ended up choosing, I think, 5 locations in this country that would suit us. And we said, okay, we're going to one of these 5 locations. And then we sat down, and every day for 2 months straight, we searched each one of these 5 locations for physical therapy jobs. And if anything came up, we applied to it within minutes of it opening, pretty much.
Wow.
Because we were just dedicated. So it was like, I'm going to take an hour a day. I'm going to look in these 5 places, and I'm going to find the job that I want and the job that Julia wants. And we were able to find 2 jobs in probably the hardest PT market that we've had in, I don't know, maybe ever during the pandemic.
Yeah.
That fit us and, allowed us to do one-on-one care like we require. So yeah, that's how we did that. So that's how we ended up here in Colorado, and it's been a great decision. And that's, one of several times that I've recreated my future, and just, we figured out what we wanted and we go for it, and now we're here, and next year we might choose something different. Anyway, so Lauryn, how would one create a compelling future? If somebody is listening to this episode right now and they're like, man, I'm not happy with my job, or I'm not happy with my body, like you have done, or I'm not happy with some other area of my life, what can somebody do to start down this road of creating a compelling future for themselves?
Yeah, and this is a great question. And I think a lot of our answers are kind of compiled from the research that we've done from previous episodes, even all the way back to our first episode on the New Year's resolutions, which had a lot to do with goal setting. That's the foundation of changing your life, essentially, is making a goal, right? So, I mean, first, find an area of your life you want to improve. Identify what you are dissatisfied with and start there. And then write down 5 things that in that area that would make you feel successful or happy, or 5 different things that you want instead of what you have currently. And then make a big goal for each area. So this comes back again to our research on goal setting. The big goal, the one that is really rooted in your why. So for me, that was to love myself and to find my self-worth, and Travis, for you, that was what?
My lifestyle. Yeah. So let's go through this real quick. So one area of the life that you were not happy with. Julia and I weren't happy with kind of our job / lifestyle anymore. So the 5 things that we wanted, we wanted a stable internet so we could create businesses. We wanted to create friendships that lasted more than a couple months. We wanted to stop living in an RV so we could have this office to do this podcast. What else did we want? Nature opportunities. I wanted to be close to mountains so I could go skiing. I wanted to be close to mountains so I could go hiking. And 5 is an arbitrary number. It doesn't have to be 5 different things. Just like you don't have to write your biceps.
Name what's important to you. Yeah. Identify what's important to you. Identify, what you want, not what you don't want. And then have your why for those, like that's your big goal. This is what you want to change. And then put together a daily action plan. Like Travis is a great example here because he already outlined it for you. Where he took like an hour each day, identified those areas that he wanted to work in, and then took an hour and looked for jobs in those areas and applied for those jobs immediately. The daily action plan for me, my daily action plan started with working out every day. Like that's simple. It's something that you can do every day, and then pulling out a calendar or a planner and plan that ish out, write it down. That's a lot of the feedback actually that we got from our New Year's resolutions episode is people came back with that feedback of, yeah, writing it down is hard for me. And that's something that I know is important. But actually like putting it down on a calendar and planning it out can be challenging. So do that, get to work, start working on it, make it visible, make it tangible, make it something that you can see and strive for and reflect on it, after, I don't even know, like a day, a week at least, reflect on it weekly and evaluate, well, how am I doing on this? Am I making progress? How are you measuring progress? For me, that was like, first of all, I threw away the scale because I have such a negative relationship with the scale, which meant that I had to redefine progress, right? Because in my brain, at that point, progress only meant like losing weight, which right. I don't love that anymore. But I had to completely redefine that. So like it was about how I fit in my clothes, how I felt in my body, my confidence. Holy cow. Because when you start to love yourself and when you start to align yourself with your goals, your confidence is noticeably different, right? So how are you measuring progress? Reflect on it weekly and then evaluate where you're coming up short or ways that you can improve and get back to work.
Yep. And then make a new goal.
And then make a new goal.
Once you hit that goal, make a new goal. So, like we talked about before, you can only do so many things at a time. Making 5 of these at one time is really, really tough to change 5 major things in your life. But once you hit it, make a new one, or once you've got it down. So if it's working out every day, once you get that down. So, they say 60 days to create a habit, I think. So if you do it for 60 days and you're like, yeah, I got this. I'm an exercise person now. Then you make a new goal. So you start on somewhere else that you want to improve. So Laura, we had a suggestion from a listener. It was actually from my sister.
Thanks, Allison.
Yes, this is like the first smart thing my sister's ever said to me in my life. Just kidding, Allison. You're great. This was a really good idea. She actually gave me another really good idea that she can give me feedback on this episode and tell me if it worked. She said I clear my throat too much. So I used her recommendation and bought some throat lozenges and used them before recording. I thought that was a pretty good idea. Very Allison. Easy fix, potentially.
Nice job, Allison.
So her other suggestion that I really, really liked was for us to create a challenge maybe not every episode, that might be too much.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we do, and you just, as the listener, you pick and choose which challenge you want. Right. But for this one, this is a great area to create a challenge. So choose an area of your life this week that you are not happy and create a compelling future for yourself. Schedule it, write it down, and do it. Connect with us on social media if you need to hold yourself accountable. You could make a post on your Instagram or Facebook and say, this is what I am going to do, and tag us if you want. Whatever's going to make you hold yourself accountable to do whatever your action plan is to get to this compelling future that you have set for yourself. Do that.
Yeah.
So whatever way we can support you or the community can support you, bring us in if you need us.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be big and life-changing. Like, it doesn't have to be moving to a different place or completely starting your health journey. Like, for me, I'm going to do it too. I'm going to take the challenge because I love a good challenge. So an area of my life that I know I need to work on is boundary setting, which we might have a whole separate episode on that. I don't know. We'll see what the future brings. Sorry, Joe, you wanted us to plan our episodes, but we're not doing it. Boundary setting.
I don't think that was Joe.
It wasn't Joe?
Else.
No, he told me we should know what we're talking about.
Oh, well, he's gonna now reach out to you and ask for royalties for using his name, because he did that to me last week.
Well, I'll give him hugs. So that'll be his payment, because I give great hugs. So you're welcome, Joe. Anyway, boundary setting is a place where I can improve in my life. I'm not a rebel, as I've said, and I'm opposite of that. I'm a huge people pleaser. Like, I just want everybody to be happy and get along and tra la 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 la. But that gets me personally, like, sacrificing things that I want to do sometimes, or like even my own like days where I just don't feel like being social and I want to be home and, you know, hanging out with my husband. And sometimes I feel like that's like not a socially acceptable answer for people. I don't know why. So saying no and like not needing to follow it up with an explanation of why I'm saying no, I think is going to be my goal. To be more comfortable with like setting that boundary and just being like, no, you know what? I'll catch you next time.
Cool. Good for you. Let's see. I can also do this. What can I work on? Oh, I have fallen off the wagon on my morning reading and studying, and I have a test coming up for, so I need to get back on the wagon on that. So I am going to study every morning. And then when I'm done that, read every morning because I like to learn. So I'm going to get back into that, and that's going to be my new goal. That's all. I'll take the challenge.
Yeah, I like it. See, it doesn't have to be huge. Take a small pledge, take a small challenge with us, and let us know what you're challenging yourself to change. And
you were in school with me, and you don't think studying is huge for me?
Studying is huge. Oh, that's
true.
Sorry, that's a major thing for you. My bad. You're talking to like the person who's just like studied and read her whole life. That's like, oh, I have to stop myself from doing that. That's one of my no's. You don't have to learn today.
That's right. Awesome. Well, this was fun. Again, everybody, if you have any suggestions on what would make this better for you or content that you want to hear about, things that you're struggling with in your own life and we might be able to help you out with, please let us know. And this was fun. Any parting words, Lauryn?
Fun. Nope.
Okay.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to listen to this episode of the Health and Happiness Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode and are getting benefits from our content.
If your life is improving in part due to the information in this podcast, we would greatly appreciate you sharing the episode with your family and friends on social media and leaving us a review so we can continue to reach more people and improve the health and happiness of the community at large.
Thanks again, and we will see you next week for another episode of the Health and Happiness Podcast.